Hello people, welcome to my new video. Today we are going to be going over how to actually trade prop firms and make money, obviously. Okay, so this is going to be basically a guide of every single thing you need to actually scale up your prop firms and to make money from prop firms. Okay, so this is a hard topic because a lot of people don't know about this, and lots of people actually blow accounts just all over the place. So today we're gonna go through what you need to do and what you don't need to do. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Okay, so first thing that you actually need is good prop firms. Okay, so far the prop firms I trade with are FTMO, ACG, and those two are the main prop firms. So that's the only two I'm gonna mention today. They are the main prop firms that I have funding with. So yeah, the first and the best one we are going for is going to be, I mean, not the best one, but ACG is the best for beginners because they have a code for a 10K account that is 10K for 40, and basically you get an account with them for 40 bucks at 10K, which is crazy. Okay, so discount code. So let's get straight into it. The first thing that you need to know is the risk management about prop firms. Okay, so with CFD prop firms, let's start with the usual thing, what they have. Let's do with ACG. Okay, so most prop firms are usually 10% drawdown maximum and 5% daily drawdown maximum. Okay, but let's start with ACG. With them you can choose whether you have 6% drawdown, 8% drawdown, or 10% drawdown. I always go with the 10% drawdown, and the reason is because you have to think ahead. What happens when you pass the account? You want to have as much drawdown possible because you don't want to blow that account. Okay, so once you pass it, you want to keep it for longer periods and trade for longer periods. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So ACG, we are going to go with 10% drawdown, and obviously then that would mean 10% P1 or phase 1 and 5% phase 2. Okay, so that's the main things you have to know about this prop firm. So what do we want to do about this? Okay, so the key goal, now let's talk about risk management. Okay, so the way you want to approach this is actually high risk on evals, and then once you actually pass, then you want to do low risk to actually get the funding, to actually get the payouts. Okay, so let's get into it. For phase 1, I mean for both phases, you are going to be risking 1.60%. Now why? Well, because that means that if you get with my model at least, so 43% win rate, 1 to 3 risk reward, the risk reward is actually the best. The only thing you have to know out here, okay, so 1 to 3 RR or 1 to 3 risk reward. Now this means that you are going to actually pass these two phases, pass both phases in 3 winning trades. That means that if you get a 3-win streak when you bought the account, you are going to pass both phases and you're going to be funded. Okay, so let's go through this actually. So you risk 1.60% and 1.66%, pass first phase in 2 trades, and then pass phase 2 with 1 trade. That's gonna basically get you funded. Okay, so that's in terms of the risk when it comes to just passing the phases. Now once you are actually funded, what you want to do, and what I do usually for bigger accounts, is 0.5% risk, and my payout target is 3%. So you trade with 0.5% risk all the way up until you have 3% on the account. You are up 3%, that means for a 10K that's 300 bucks, and at that point you would actually wait for the payout date and not trade the account until the payout date is here, and then you're going to take the payout. Okay, so 3% is what you're taking home. Now, the key thing that you need to know, this is basically everything. You don't have to complicate it when it comes to prop firms to get payouts, but how do you scale up and how do you go about this? Okay, so the main thing about scaling up, I'll move this to the side. So the main thing you have to know here is DCA, which means dollar cost average. You've probably heard about this when it comes to S&P and stuff, but we also apply this to prop firms, and that's the whole back end of our trading and why we are so successful at passing prop firms. is because we DCA into prop firms. Okay, so the way you do this is actually you have to buy more accounts to be able to pass more accounts. That means you have to have a DCA plan, for example, 10K every week, and then what are you doing? You are opening up yourself for a fresh start every week. That means if one account, okay, so let's say 10K every week, which means basically if, let's say, this week was red for you, negative, and you go into the new week and it ends up being a great week, you're not going to pass this first account that you have if you only have one account, because you've put yourself in drawdown on this account and now a new week has come and it was a great week, but it only brought you up to back to profits on the account. You didn't pass the account. Or maybe just maybe if it was a really great week, you passed phase 1 at maximum, okay? If you got 3 wins that week, for example, because one is going to cover the loss you've made last week, and then the other 2 trades are going to pass you phase 1. But this is the slower way to actually pass accounts, and it's going to take you ages if you're trying to do it like this to actually scale up. But what we do here is, so if this week was red for you, in the next week that is great, for example, you will only pass phase 1, maybe, or get back out of drawdown on this account. But if you buy a new account that second week, that account is going to have a fresh start, which means if you take 3 wins that week, you are going to pass both phases. So if you were to buy a new account this second week, that account would be passed and you would be funded if you got 3 wins that week. Whereas, and the old one, and the old account would be back in profits, maybe past phase 1. So that's the reason why you have to buy more accounts, because you will offer up yourself to having a fresh start each week, which means if you get a good week and you just bought an account, you're going to pass it, and that's the best way to actually get funded, okay? That's the fastest way to get funded. Now, what does this mean, basically? That means that you're going to pass multiple accounts. I actually set an alert here by mistake. That means that you're going to pass more accounts because you go about it this way. You buy accounts every week, and then you are going to be set. Okay, so if you buy every week an account, you have this plan basically, and we have an optimal plan as well that we set for everyone on how to scale up from 0 to 500K in funding. Basically what you do is you do this, you buy one account every week, 10K every week. You risk a little bit more once you're funded because the goal is to get more funding, so more funding each time. And basically you risk more, get payouts. With those payouts you buy 100Ks and you repeat the process and so on, okay? So another thing I want to say here is this is also a very good example of this, and it's very good by what means. Well, let's go into my journal and let's do a global one. What you can also recognize is, and why I do all my journaling here on Excel or spreadsheets, and on Notion as well. I do on Notion because everything looks better, it's organized, stuff like that, but I still keep journaling on spreadsheet because it gives you a view of what trading looks like trade by trade, how many losses in a row you had, how many wins in a row you had. Now, how can we use this to actually be ahead and try to maybe like predict some happening, okay, in the markets, okay? So obviously you cannot predict what the next trade will do. But for example, if I go back to the start, and if I knew this back then, I would have a lot more funding right now, a lot more payouts and stuff. But let's get over this. Okay, so what can we notice here? Lots of losses, in this case 5 losses, and then a win streak. Let's go back down. 4 losses here, and then a win streak. Okay, now we have come across a losing month. In these months, you cannot do anything like this. You're gonna just lose evals, and that's completely fine because your goal is to have a plan of scaling where you can afford it each month. So you have to be able to afford DCA each month, which means if you lose your evals, you are not going to care about them because you know that next month you'll just buy new evals and so on until you get funded, and then you're going to keep that funded for a long time. Now, another example of this is lots of losses in a row, big win streak. Okay, so what do you do with this information? After 4, 5, 6 losses, buy an account. Right there, right then. Doesn't matter which day of the week it is, just buy an account. Why? Well, because we know that with this 40% win rate strategy we have and 1 to 3 risk to reward, that after 5 to 6 losses or 4 to 5, 6 losses, we are going to have most likely a winning streak, which means if you were to buy an account at the end, like you lost 4, 5 times, buy an account, boom, boom, you've passed both phases and get a payout by this point right here. Okay, so that's what I keep doing always, and I will be doing this always. If I have a losing streak, I'm gonna buy more accounts because I know that the winning streak is near. Okay, it doesn't have to be all the time, but usually it's like this. That's why you have to be fine with the amount you're spending, and you have to be ready to lose the accounts at any time and then just be able to buy them again. So again, 4 losses here, buy an account, boom, you've passed it. Okay, so that's how it goes. Once you've passed the account, if you risk 0.5% on a funded account, there is actually no way you can lose them, because it takes 20 losses in a row to actually lose the account if you're at break even. Okay, 20 losses is quite a large amount. My biggest loss streak out of these 177 trades that I have on my live data here, my biggest loss streak was 7 trades in a row. So there's absolutely no way you're going to blow the account if you risk 0.5%. Now also here, as you can see, losses, buy an account, maybe after the 4th loss, you take 1 loss, then big winning streak comes here and you pass the account. So that's how you're going to go about prop firms to be able to scale up to your desired amount. Actually, there is probably no desired amount, you just want to get as much funding as possible to make as much money as possible. And basically, you just repeat this process all over again, and at one point you're going to have 500, 600k, 700k in funding, and then all you do is risk 0.5%, target 3% for payouts, and you are set for life, basically. Because if you have a good month, boom, 2 payouts maybe in a row, that's 6% out of 700k. Okay, obviously these months are rare, where you have if you risk 0.5%, it's going to be harder to get 3% payout 2 times in a month, but it is possible and it has happened. So obviously, look at this number. It seems like it's unreal, but it really isn't. You just have to be patient once you are funded and wait for these winning months, and then you are going to get this. Okay. Then another thing I want to say is, once you have a huge amount of funding, okay, so buy ads after a couple of losses, because most likely there will be a winning streak soon, which means you will pass these accounts fast. Okay, boom. Now another thing I want to pop in here is, once you have solid amount of funding, you can diversify when you get the payout, aka your payout target. So on some accounts you can put your target to, let's say, 6% instead of 3%, and that basically means that with these times, as times go on, you maybe, what do you do here? If you say, let's say you have a good month and you target 3% on every account, you're going to pay out all of your accounts at the same time because you take the same trades. Now this means that if the winning streak was to continue, you would miss out on it, because once you request a payout, it takes like 4 or 5 days till you get the account back and you can trade it again. So what do you do in this case? You diversify your payout target, which means on some accounts you target for 3% and on some accounts you target 6%, for example. And then what you allow yourself to do is, the first win streak period happened in the month, let's say, you take 3% of payouts on half of your accounts, let's say, and the other half still keeps trading. So if the winning streak was to continue, you're going to make 6%, and then you can pay out that. And you haven't missed a winning period, and you're going to get paid out even more because your payout target is higher. Now this is basically the end. This is all you need to actually make money for prop firms. So we've covered everything: when to buy accounts, how to buy them, from where to start if the option is as little as possible. Obviously, with my mentees, what I do is, depending on their budget, I build them out a plan for scaling up. Okay, so we've covered that. We've covered the payout targets and what to do in terms of risk management. So that is everything out of this video, boys. Really dropped some sauce right here. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I hope it helps you. And if it does, send me results. My DMs are always open. Send me any questions you have, anything you need to talk about. Just send me the question in DM or anything, and I will be straight there with you. Okay, so thank you, boys, and see you in the next one.